Sandabhyo Chowpatty Pavnibhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Just a minute. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 15, The Pandavas Retire Timely, text number 25 and 26. Chalaukasam jale yadvan mahanto adantaniyasa durbalan balino rajan mahanto balino mitha evam bhalishtair yadubher mahadbir itaran vibhu yadun yadubir anyonyam bhubharan sanjaharaha mahanto jalaukasam jale yadvan mahanto adantaniyasa durbalan balino rajan mahanto balino mitha evam bhalishtair yadubhir mahadbir itaran vibhu yadun yadubhir anyonyam bhubharan sanjaharaha Jalaukasam jale yadvan mahanto adantaniyasa durbalan balino rajan mahanto balino mitha evam balishtair yadubhir mahadbir itaran vibhu yadun yadubhir anyonyam bhubharan sanjaharaha. Synonyms, translations and purports by Srila Prabhupada. Jalaukasam of the aquatics, Jale in the water, Yadvat as it is, Mahanta the larger one, Adanti swallows, Aniyasa smaller ones, Durbalan the weak, Balina the stronger, Rajan, O king, Mahanta the strongest, Balina less strong, Mitha in a duel, Evam in thus Balishtai by the strongest, Yadubhi by the descendants of Yadu, Mahadbhi one who has greater strength, Itaran the common ones, Vibhu the supreme personality of Godhead, Yadun all the Yadus, Yadubhi by the Yadus, Anyonyam among one another, Bhubharan the burden of the world, Sanjahara has unloaded, Ha in the past. Translation. O king, as in the ocean the bigger and the stronger aquatic swallow up the smaller and weaker ones, so also the Supreme Personality of Godhead to lighten the burden of the earth has engaged the stronger Yadu to kill the weaker and the bigger Yadu to kill the smaller. Purport. In the material world, the struggle for existence and the survival of the fittest are laws because in the material world there is disparity between conditioned souls due to everyone's desire to lord it over the material resources. This very mentality of lording it over the material nature is a root cause of conditioned life. And to give facility to such imitation lords, the illusory energy of the Lord has created a disparity between conditioned living beings by creating the stronger and the weaker in every species of life. The mentality of lording it over the material nature and the creation has naturally created a disparity and therefore the law of struggle for existence. In the spiritual world, there is no such disparity, nor is there such a struggle for existence. In the spiritual world, there is no struggle for existence because everyone there exists eternally. There is no disparity because everyone wants to render service to the Supreme Lord, and no one wants to imitate the Lord in becoming the beneficiary. The Lord, being the creator of everything, including the living beings, factually is a proprietor and enjoyer of everything that be. But in the material world, by the spell of Maya or illusion, this eternal relation with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is forgotten. And so the living being is conditioned under the law of struggle for existence and survival of the fittest. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Jai Sachidanand Prabhu, for your kind welcome to me in the beginning. Portland, last time when I visited for the first time, I was so attracted to the wonderful mood that you have created here. There is such a family spirit. All devotees love each other. They assist to take the mission forward. And also the excellent youth group that is there to leading wonderful kirtans. So thankful for being here in Portland, and just wish to share some reflections on this verse of the Bhagavatam. This is a section where the Pandavas, they are retiring because Krishna is no more there. Krishna has gone back to the spiritual world. Arjuna was extremely morose. When he came back from Dwarka, Yudhishthira was already getting a lot of, these symptoms, these predictions by the way the environment is changing. And when he saw Arjuna's situation, Arjuna being so dejected, so morose, immediately he started to ask about what happened. And at that point, Arjuna starts to remember all the wonderful Leela's pastimes that the Lord had, and especially with him. And in this section, what happened in Dwarka? There was one of the questions that was asked. What happened in Dwarka is mentioning with great remorse, with great sadness, because all the Yadus were so dear, and especially the Yadunandana, the Yadutilaka, the best of the Yadavas, Krishna, has also chosen to depart. Herein, it's being this one of the very upsetting or very intriguing story or episode where the Yadavas, they kill each other ultimately to, for Krishna wanted to take them all. But the way Krishna orchestrated this is what puzzles, that Krishna could have taken in when we go to the Ayodhya, there is the Guptar Ghat, the place where Lord Ram, he went back to the spiritual world. And in the story of Lord Ram, we don't see that Lord Ram wanted to end everyone. Of course, it is explained that everybody went back with the Supreme Lord. All those devotees that were with the Lord, everybody went back. Because Lord Ram vanished into the Sarayu river. There is Lakshman Ghat and there is Guptar Ghat. At Lakshman Ghat, Lakshmana entered the Sarayu river and he went back to the spiritual realm. And then Krishna, then Lord Ram, he goes back to the spiritual realm in Guptar Ghat. But it is very uniquely, only in Krishna Lila we see that whoever had come along, all the Yadavas, all his family members, he took them all along with. And as he's taking them all, every pastime of Krishna, he wants to teach us a very important lesson for dharma, for Krishna consciousness to go forward. And this is how all the Yadavas, they gathered in this Prabhas Kshetra and they made this wine out of rice. Even now in the south, this particular intoxicant is there. In Andhra, it's called as a Sara. And it obviously is quite intoxicating. And they made this out of rice and they drank. They became intoxicated with pride, and there was some misunderstandings, and they started to fight. And as they started to fight, they picked up these canes that grew up out of that small little piece that was not the iron club that was there, that came out of Samba's stomach when the sages were kind of ridiculed or made fun of, or they were playing pranks. And the sages, they curse that in your stomach there is a lump of iron that will be growing. And then they saw, and that will be the cause of destruction of the Yadavas. That's the beginning of this whole downfall. And Krishna and Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur, he gives elaborate purports on this aspect in the 11th canto, that how the Lord, he wanted to show that just because we have become very close to the Lord does not mean that we start to feel that I'm better than others and I can ridicule others or I can look down upon others. One of the results of purity is pride. Of course, not the proper result, but the more pure we are, the more we start to think that I am better than others. I am fasting in Kartik, I'm only eating once, and there are these others who are eating 3 times. Or some one devotee says Chaturmas means eating 4 times. So then we tend to look down upon others. And what to speak of if these devotees are not from your area, from your, say, sampradaya, because these rishis, they were not Yadavas. At the, say, familial or at the race level, sometimes there is some affection, there is inclusion. But as soon as there is somebody else who is not if we are at the bodily level, then we tend to disrespect them or look down upon them. That my culture, the way I am practicing spiritual life is the way. And herein they apparently were making pranks on these rishis, dressed as a pregnant lady and going and asking, who is it, a boy or is it a girl? They immediately, Ugrasena, he tries to uh, remove this clump of iron by powdering it, and then he threw in the ocean. And all this iron powder, they all came and they got deposited in Prabhas Kshetra at the bank of at the beach. And usually on a beach, you don't find any kind of vegetation, any kind of trees growing. But these, of course, by the will of the Lord, they all got rooted in this sand and they became these very hard iron trees. And Denver, there is one place called as Flatiron. And of course, there were, I don't know why that place called Flatiron, but I was remembering, iron, it caused the destruction of the Yadavas. It grew, it's quite amusing, scientifically not possible that iron can grow into an iron rod, a small little particle, but it grew. And in their altercations, they started to pick up, because before everything starts with words, and the words are turned into swords. And at times, the words have a break. Swords can just break or kill somebody, but words, they often, without killing, we can affect the person so bad just by the words that are spoken. In Africa, there is some places where there are these huge trees, and it is practically impossible to cut these trees because of their strength. And these tribes, they all gather around the tree, and for days together, they start to abuse the tree, ridicule the tree. And after they do for days together, then they start to cut the tree, because by that abuse, by that ridicule, the tree becomes weakened. So that's the power of words. And the words turned into swords, and turned into this, and here it's being explained. The Supreme Lord orchestrated this to lighten the burden of the earth. Yadavas were not sinful, because Mother Earth, for her, the burden is caused when there is sin, when there is adharma, when there is breaking of these four regulative principles: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex, and especially speaking of lies, asatya. It causes great burden to the earth. But the Supreme Lord, this verse says, to Bharaha, Bhubharan, the bird of the earth, Sanjahara. To lighten the burden of the earth, the Lord made each other kill the bigger fish, just like they eat the smaller fish. Same way, the stronger Yadavas started to kill the weaker Yadavas. Usually it is said that if you are strong, then it is your duty to support the weak. But often in this world, as it is exhibited, the stronger try to exploit the weak. The richer try to exploit the poor. The way it should be is that one who is senior, he doesn't find faults with somebody who is a junior, somebody who is just coming and chanting. He may not be chanting properly. And as a senior, we're supposed to help him to chant. But many times we take seniority as just, I'm here in the moment for this number of years, and because I've seen many years, so therefore I've become senior. One of our brahmacharis says this. Senior doesn't mean you've seen many years. Senior means you're seeing through the years, and you have become mature by uh, hearing of Krishna Katha and dealing with the Vaishnavas very sensitively. But often we tend to, uh, like, a elder boy is there. If he sees you see in the house also, the the eldest will, especially if the younger is kind of submissive, they'll make them do, or in college, our seniors used to ask us to write their assignments and go and get some food for them, this and that. But the the reciprocation is that you are giving more than what you are taking. That, yes, sometimes the seniors do take service from the juniors, but it is not in an exploitative mode. It is to engage those devotees, to train those devotees. And also sometimes the health may not be good, but in reciprocation, they offer prayers, they are concerned, they are willing to help them, give wisdom that the juniors lack. Therefore, Devamrit Maharaj once said, ISKCON will progress if we have the enthusiasm of the newcomers and the maturity of the elders. But often we tend to go this way, and that's how destruction happens. That the society, no matter how well it has been constructed by the hard efforts of the the previous generation, if the current generation does not is not careful, Ramanujacharya, in his purport to the verse Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajarshayo Vidu Sakale Neha Mahata Yoga Nashta Parantapa. So that verse says how over course of time the science of bhakti has been lost. And I do mention in the book also, he says, why does the parampara get lost? Why does the succession not happen? He says mainly two reasons. One is laziness of the generation to truly understand the mood of the spiritual master. The disciples don't uh, are not eager enough or sincere enough to understand the mood of the spiritual master, and just because they got some say facility, some position, they tend to think, now that I am here, then it is me who is ruling things, and we don't feel that I am just a follower, I am just assisting. Yesterday, one somebody after the class, they asked me, what is the difference between a sannyasi and a brahmachari? And I said, brahmachari is supposed to serve the sannyasi, and some sannyasi is the one who is preaching, who is going all across and delivering the wisdom of Krishna to everybody. But the sannyasi, the guru, has given the order uh, to the people, to his disciples, to uh, distribute the message on his behalf, to do everything. Just like when we go and do arti in the temple, we are doing on behalf of our spiritual master, of our guru. So just like a grahastha is given the deity worship to on behalf of the spiritual master, that they are serving the deities, and the same way the brahmachari is given the duty on behalf of the Guru to go to places where he cannot, and therefore, if the mood is that I am just here to assist my spiritual master in whatever we are doing, and not that I am somebody who is having great knowledge or great realizations. So when we have that, then we will not get lost. But when we are lazy, not to understand the mood, what exactly my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada wants me to serve. So that is to be lazy. And when we are lazy, to understand the mood, then it results into pride, because we start to think it is all mine. And also lazy in executing the order of the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada was given this order that go to the West and preach in the English language. And how much should Srila Prabhupada work hard, struggle to serve the order of his spiritual master. He did not see, oh, if it's not convenient, so therefore I will not execute this order. For 40 years, he was trying somehow or other. And then it is this year, 1960, to 2025, that is the 60th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada arriving in the United States, September 18th, 1965. He arrived in Boston. And when he arrived in Boston, he writes this very heartfelt prayer. Oh Krishna, I don't have, please give me the intelligence to speak the right language, to have the right words, so that I can share your message to these people who are so rajas tamo bhava, who are drowning in tamoguna and rajoguna. So Prabhupada never felt, he is the one who is delivering, he is executing the order of his spiritual master. And even though it was so difficult, he was in Vrindavan. All devotees, especially as they grow old, they wish to go and settle in Vrindavan. But Prabhupada, from Vrindavan, he was preparing to come to the West. And his main preparation was writing of the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the first canto. And these particular purports that Prabhupada wrote was in Vrindavan as he is preparing himself to, therefore, first canto out of all cantos is very special because it was a very desperate and eager attempt of Srila Prabhupada to execute the order of his spiritual master. And Prabhupada felt that unless I am able to take Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, translate Śrīmad Bhāgavatam in the English language, and take this message to the West, I don't have anything else to give. Well, how will I deliver them? So therefore, Srila Prabhupada was writing the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, translating, especially the first canto. And it is said on February 20, 1965, in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada completed the writing of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, the first canto. And then he was looking for sponsors to publish these 3 volumes, which was also difficult. And then he was asking that you publish, when I get the payment, I will pay you. And seeing genuineness of Prabhupada, some supported some of these printers. And at the same time, he was focusing on how to publish his book. So he was going to Delhi again and again. Also, he was going to Bombay to get a ticket on the Jaladuta. I'm not sure if the flights were started in 1965. Definitely by 1968, the flight when Prabhupada came back, maybe in 70s, Prabhupada had come back in flight. But in 65, he was going to different ship company agent owners to please give him. And this Sumati Morarji, So if you see Prabhupada's diary, till February 20th, 1965, he was in Vrindavan. But between February and August, for those 6 months, Prabhupada was traveling to Delhi, was traveling to Bombay. How? In third class trains, the third class compartment, or third class train, third class compartment, which were very, there is first class, second class, and third class compartments in trains. There, no, very cheap ticket. There is no booking. There is no reservation. Just sitting in the whole journey from Delhi to Bombay, which is almost like 20 hours or 24 hours. Prabhupada was traveling back and forth in Delhi to Bombay, convincing Sumati Morarji, and finally she gave him a ticket on the Jaladuta for the August 20, 1965. And from August 20, 1965 to September 18th, which is almost like 30 days. August, September, yes. August 30th, 1965, Prabhupada sat on the Jaladuta. It was almost like August 13th to September 18th is 37 to 38 days that Prabhupada was on the shipyard, or on the Jaladuta, going through heart attacks, going through nausea, seasickness. Another important element that I just noticed when I was going through the dates of 1965 was that on August 20, 1965 was Janmashtami. So just a week before Janmashtami, Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan. He did not even kind of had this. Of course, he must have very strongly wanted to be in Vrindavan. He always wanted to be in Vrindavan. But just a week before, when the ticket was August 20, he did not try to postpone the ticket. Okay, let me celebrate my last festival in Vrindavan, Janmashtami. Who would not want to be in Vrindavan on Janmashtami? Who would not want to be in Mayapur on Gaur Purnima? But Prabhupada sacrificed even that, not having any kind of personal considerations. So that's the eagerness and no kind of laxatic or laziness that Prabhupada had in executing. So Ramanuja says this is very important, that the disciples are not lazy in executing the order of the spiritual master, and also to understand the mood of the spiritual master by hearing from the Guru continuously. Because we tend to think, I have heard enough, I don't need to hear from Prabhupada. No, we need to, because the mood many times it's overwhelmed with our own particular conditionings that we have. Yes. Another that is mentioned by Ramanujacharya is that if disciples may not be lazy, but they may become proud, and they become proud of their position, of their spiritual progress. They tend to offend others. They tend to look down on others, and this becomes a impediment in the growth of that organization, that parampara, and eventually, as they say, pride cometh before the fall. The whole spiritual society crumbles under this burden of pride, as it happened with Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's lifetime effort of starting the Gaudiya Math. And these devotees, when in the Bagh Bazaar had gone, and Bagh Bazaar temple, this amazing structure that Bhaktivinoda Thakur made, and it was all contributed by one Grahastha. He literally, it said, I forget his name, He literally sold his house to construct this temple for his guru. And some of these senior leaders, they were having argument over which room to be allotted, because the rooms, one side of this structure was facing the river Ganga, and the other side was facing the market. Then the market, there is be noise, there is no, and Mother Ganga is so holy too. We always looking at Mother Ganga and the breeze coming. So they started to have fight. Who will have on the side of Ganga? Oh, and that was the time Bhakti Thakur felt very heartbroken. I constructed all this. This is what that they feel so entitled and start to fight. So Lord Krishna, way back when he was there, he's setting this precedence that if we are not careful, if we start to have pride, we should be proud of our parampara, the process that we are following, but not that I am following often we tend to glorify and start, like sometimes when devotees offer some on the Vyas Puja, the glorification of their spiritual master. I've heard from some senior leaders that it sometimes it seems to be glorification of themselves than the glorification of spiritual master. How I was there with the Guru, and how the Guru told me this particular thing. Of course, they are trying to glorify, but in the sequence, it ends up that they are also glorifying themselves. So to be careful that all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the Guru Parampara, and to really be there to help the next generation to be kind and not really be very heartless. We have a goal, and in that goal tend to exploit, and it kills their enthusiasm, which we see here in that the Yadavas, the stronger Yadavas, the bigger Yadavas started to kill the juniors who were there. And Vishwanath Thakur, he writes that the Yadavas in the future, they exhibited this little pride, which was and especially after Lord Krishna leaves, they are so strong, and with this pride, then it is a disaster. When Duryodhana was born, that's what Vidura said. No, he is a very envious and sinful person. That's why all this forecast was all very deadly, blood, rain coming, and all this. So better we uh, send him, we exile him to the forest, and in forest somebody can take care of him. Because if he is in the uh, kingdom as a king, and if he gets strength, it will be very troublesome. So the Yadavas were strong, and if they continue the generation, then they may not be in the proper mood, and it will create. Also, Prabhupada mentions that Bhakti Thakur saying Krishna didn't want to have any family lineage to be his main parampara, his main way. There is no jata concept, that entitlement by birth. Krishna wanted who is my true follower, not somebody who is coming in my line, somebody who is following the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita and following the Shiksha Parampara. So it's not the no the Shukra Parampara. Shukra means semen. Krishna didn't want the Shukra Parampara, which is coming through his sons, his grandsons, like that. Because then it becomes limited, and even now we see in Vrindavan, there is very much this jata concept that if we can only be a guru or a acharya if you are born in that in that lineage, otherwise you are not eligible. Because they are glorious, those who are born in the Goswami's parampara. But Krishna wanted to set this reason, and therefore Lord Chaitanya also, he didn't had any children when he was a grahastha. To set this precedence that it is the Shruti parampara, it is the Shiksha parampara which is of main way in which my mercy is flowing, not through the Shukra parampara. So that is that is another reason. Vishwanath Chakravarti also gives this, that just like a woman, when she wears some golden ornaments, that golden ornaments she wears because it is very decorative, very pleasing to the husband. But when the husband leaves, then she does not want to wear that. It becomes a burden. Same with the Yadavas. When Lord Krishna was present, the Yadavas, all these devotees were the ornaments of the earth. But when the husband of Mother Earth, Bhumi Devi, who is Lord Krishna, when he left, then Mother Earth does will feel the burden of this, because Krishna is not there. The devotees are the ornaments of Krishna. So therefore, he wanted to lighten the burden of earth. Wanted to burden the burden of earth. So this is another example. So when the husband leaves, the woman removes all the ornaments and she keeps aside. Same way, Krishna wanted to remove this burden, which will become a burden in the future, to remove that. And also all the devatas, they were born as Yadavas to assist Krishna. Even they had to be sent back to their duties. So therefore, this was created, that how to send back. So I'll stop here. If any devotees have any reflections, questions, we can take.
Thank you so much, Braj Mohan, for speaking on this verse and glorifying Srila Prabhupada as well. So, Prabhuji left plenty of time for questions and answers. I see we have about 20 devotees on call, so please share your questions, any elaborations you need to help understand this topic. Thank you. Madhavi Prabhuji has his hand up, sorry.
Hare Krishna, Braj Mohan Prabhu. Thank you so much for the very nice class. My question is, would you be able to elaborate a little bit more? There is a verse in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam when describing the Yadavas and their sort of understanding of Krishna. It is being compared to like the fish in the water thinking the moon to be one of their own, and therefore taking it for granted. It sort of implies that. So
Harimena Ivodupa. Uddhava
yeah,
says this.
yes. Would you be able to elaborate a little bit more on that? How that plays into this? Like, did the pride was the pride already there even when Krishna was there among the Yadavas, that they didn't appreciate that the Supreme Lord is living with them? Was the pride already there, or is it something else?
See, this is a pastime where Krishna is showing us certain lessons. Just like, see, Mother Sita wanting to have the deer and engaging Lord Ram in his service. Sita, the energy of the Lord is supposed to serve the Lord.
Mm.
But we see Sita engage Lord Ram in his service. And Valmiki says the deer became Abhirama, more dear to Ram, to Sita than Ram. Because only when it is more dear, then you will engage. She will engage. So this is not a blemish. This is the way Krishna orchestrates his pastimes to show us how we should be very careful. So herein the Yadavas, definitely they were so eager. We see in the 10th chapter or the 11th chapter when Krishna goes back, it is as if their life has come back. But this aspect is there that when we are too close to Krishna or the Guru, then we tend to take that lightly. One of the words that is used is when the Guru is served, Vishrambena Gauravena. With great care and attention, one should approach the deity, this Guru. Usually, if it is rare, then that is there, even in family members. The more we tend to stay together, familiarity breeds contempt, or we start to take lightly. So Krishna wanted to show this lesson, and that's what Uddhava starts to regret. That when from the moon, when during the churning of the ocean, when the moon appeared from the ocean as it was rising high, those fishes in the ocean, they thought that Hari Meena, Hari, Lord Krishna, just the way Meena means fish. Eva, we thought just like Udupa. Udupa means moon. That's why Udupi Krishna means that Lord who appeared to please the moon. So Udupa, Eva, Udupa, Udupa. So the moon, when it is rising from the ocean, the fish thought he is one of us. He is also another type of fish, unique fish. Same way we had taken Krishna lightly. There is no episode where they kind of disrespected. Only one episode that is mentioned is where the Sambas, Samba and all the other Yadav Kumaras, they this kind of make prank with rishis. That itself, you may take care of Krishna very nicely, which is the Kanishta Adhikari, where he has great respect for the deities, for the Guru, but with the other Vaishnavas, he starts to become careless, a bit, off guard. So that's what happened, and not with that generation, the next generation. So Prabhupada disciples, the kind of gratitude and their affection that they have, the next generation, we can see it's not that intense the way they have. And the next, like even with India, those who are coming or who are born in India, raised in India, there is that great belonging. But the next generation who are born here, although they may be from India, they don't have that belongingness, that this, and not to speak of the next generation. So that was being shown that there is great reverence for the Lord, but for those devotees who, or those people who are not Yadavas, they started to have this. So that itself was sufficient for the Lord. And as the Lord is in the heart, so I cannot say that Yadavas were proud. The Yadav Kumaras, when they ridiculed, that became the cause of their destruction. All it takes on a highway is one small mistake for the accident to happen and lives to be lost. So the more, for one whom much is given, much is expected. And one who is going at a great pace has to be more and more careful that I don't offend anyone. We know the story of the Goswamis being in meditation, and I think it was Rupa Goswami who was kind of smiling, and there was a no, person who was limping and going, and this Vaishnava who was limping and going, he thought Rupa Goswami is smiling at him. Immediately his meditation broke. Then Sanatana Goswami said, looks like you might have offended. Well, he didn't intentionally do it, he was just, but this is how the world is. Intentionally and unintentionally we may displease some Vaishnava. So therefore, to be in the mood of humility, Sanatana Goswami said, feed all the Vaishnavas and beg forgiveness. Therefore, on birthdays, we do say this. Please forgive me, Prabhu, if intentionally or unintentionally, if I displeased you or committed some aparadh. So we have to be extremely careful, especially the more we are close to the process, the more senior we are, not to have any tinge of the pride.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother Hari Prabhu, for that nice question. Anyone else would like to have elaboration or question, please share. So I don't see any other questions, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for taking your
Thank you.
valuable time in explaining this painful episode where Krishna leaves and his dear associates leave. So thank you very much
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
for elaborating. So Prabhuji will be speaking at 11:30 of the time, the Gita, and he has great expertise on the Gita after having studied it very carefully for many years and writing the Gita Sutra book. So please come and relish hearing Krishna Katha today at 11:30, and we'll also be observing Damodar pastime by lighting the ghee lamp. So please come and join 11:30. Anchakalpatribhishya
Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha.
Thank you, Krishna Kesha Prabhu, for arranging for Prabhuji to come. Thank you for being so thoughtful.
Right.
Okay, I think we'll end.
Grandhara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai.
Praise Braj Mohan Prabhu Ji ki jai.
Jai.
Samveda Bhakta Vrinda